It was supposed to be one of those unforgettable pop culture moments. Beyoncé on stage at the 2011 MTV VMAs, glowing like the sun, unbuttoning her sparkly jacket, and cradling a growing belly. The crowd lost it. Jay-Z beamed like a proud dad in the front row, and the internet exploded with headlines about the royal baby of music. But then, just as quickly as that moment became legend, something strange happened. A few weeks later, an awkward clip aired on an Australian talk show. Grainy footage, nothing dramatic, except for one bizarre second where Beyoncé's baby bump appeared to fold as she sat down. Not shift, not adjust, fold. Was it a weird camera angle, a trick of fabric? Maybe. But that moment never fully disappeared. It lived on in conspiracy corners and Reddit threads, never gaining enough traction to matter. Until now. Enter Ramir Sadweight, or as he introduced himself to the world, Jay-Z's real son. Out of nowhere, he steps forward, not just with wild claims of being abandoned, but with an even bigger twist, suggesting that Blue Ivy, Beyoncé and Jay-Z's daughter, might not be Beyoncé's biological child at all. Suddenly, that old fold and bump clip didn't feel like internet junk food anymore. It started looking like Exhibit A in a much darker, more complicated story, and it's not just Ramir talking. In the same storm of headlines, a woman claiming to be a former nanny for the Carters also stepped forward. Her account? That she helped care for Blue Ivy as a newborn, but never once saw Beyoncé pregnant. Not once, not even toward the end. But that's the kind of detail that makes your brain pause, whether you believe her or not. Because it's one thing for a stranger on TikTok to throw out theories, but a nanny? Someone who says they were inside the house? That's different. Now let's be real, celebrities using surrogates isn't a scandal. Plenty of famous couples go that route for personal, medical, or logistical reasons. But what makes this hit differently is the performance of it all. Laichi's performed the VMA moment, the perfectly timed paparazzi shots, the interviews where Beyoncé talked about cravings and baby kicks. If this really was a surrogacy situation, then why the theater? And if it wasn't, why are there NDAs floating around and people suddenly popping up to say otherwise? Ramir isn't backing down either. He's not just claiming the Carters kept him in the shadows, he's suggesting a full-blown cover-up, one that rewrote the family narrative from the beginning. In his words, it's not about money, it's about truth. But truth in this world is slippery. His motives are being questioned just as much as his story. Is he bitter? Is he broke? Is he telling the truth? Or is this one big attempt to poke holes in the armor of music's most protected empire? And the thing is, Beyoncé and Jay-Z aren't just rich and famous, they're strategic. Every photo, every public appearance, every crumb of family life they allow into the world is curated with surgical precision. So the second cracks appear, the public starts zooming in. That old folding bump clip, back on Twitter. Blue Ivy's baby photos, reanalyzed like crime scene evidence. Suddenly, the Carter family isn't a flawless dynasty. It's a mystery novel with pages missing, and people are scrambling to fill in the blanks. All of this has come at a time when the Carter brand is already under pressure. Legal issues, quiet feuds, rising scrutiny. It's not just one storm, it's a brewing hurricane. And Ramir's accusations, they might be the flash of lightning that finally forces people to ask, what is the truth behind the perfect image we've been fed all these years? The timing couldn't be more suspicious. Just as the Carter dynasty was already juggling lawsuits, fractured business relationships, and whispers of former allies turning into enemies, Ramir's story hit the internet like a well-aimed grenade. Some people called it a desperate cry for attention. Others said he was playing a dangerous game, going after entertainment's most powerful couple. But one thing was clear. He didn't seem scared. He spoke with the kind of unbothered frustration you hear from someone who's been ignored for too long and has nothing left to lose. Then came the bomb no one expected. A resurfaced quote from an alleged insider who worked closely with the Carters during their early years of parenthood. This person didn't just echo the nanny story. They claimed there were entire sections of the house that were sealed off, guarded, and off limits, even to most staff. Rooms where only select people were allowed, deliveries that came through private entrances, and moments where Beyoncé would disappear for hours, emerging in full glam but never visibly pregnant. To some, it sounded like standard celebrity privacy, but when stacked against the growing pile of inconsistencies, it started to look like choreography. There's a term people use in Hollywood, image architecture. It's the idea that every detail, what you wear, what you say, what you share, is a brick in the fortress of your public persona. Beyoncé's fortress was built like the Louvre, solid, flawless, no cracks allowed. But in a world obsessed with digging, even the best blueprints have weak spots. Blue Ivy has been the face of that architecture since day one. She wasn't just a child, she was a brand. From award show appearances to album credits to luxury campaigns, she became a symbol of generational greatness. Fans saw her as a reflection of Beyoncé and Jay-Z's love story, their power, their legacy. So to suggest that her very existence might be part of a hidden arrangement, that's not just controversial, it's nuclear. And then there's the missing twins theory, the kind of thing you'd expect to hear in the back alleys of the internet, not on mainstream platforms. But here it is, people claiming Jay-Z's fathered another set of twins years ago, before the fame, before Beyoncé. Allegedly, these children were never acknowledged publicly and are tied to airtight NDAs, secret trusts, and a trail of carefully buried breadcrumbs. The theory says their mother was paid off to keep silent, their names erased from official stories, and their connection to the Carter family cut clean. It sounds insane until you remember how airtight the Carters run their empire. There's no slip-ups, no accidental leaks. If there were other children out there, is it really that hard to believe they could be hidden in plain sight, carefully scrubbed from the narrative like a deleted scene? Lyrics from Jay-Z's own catalog have now come under fire. Fans are picking them apart like code, isolating bars that might have seemed poetic at the time, but now read like potential confession. References to shadows I can't name, doors I never open, and families I protect with silence are being dissected like courtroom evidence. Maybe it's all metaphor, or maybe it's something more. None of this, by the way, has been addressed publicly. Beyoncé and Jay-Z have kept their mouths shut exactly the way they always do. But silence in a moment like this feels less like dignity and more like dodging, because the more questions that pile up, the louder that silence gets, and the easier it becomes to believe there's something they don't want the world to know. The spotlight is no longer theirs to control. Beyoncé and Jay-Z have built an empire off of mystique, perfection, and the illusion of untouchable harmony, but now it feels like the audience is no longer watching their performance. It's inspecting the stage, pulling back curtains, looking for trapdoors, and when every movement is analyzed, even silence becomes a message. Public curiosity has transformed into full-on investigation. Old interviews are being clipped, slowed down, and rewatched with suspicion. Fans who once praised Beyoncé's maternal glow now notice how guarded she seemed when asked about her pregnancy. Others point to how carefully Blue Ivy's early childhood was managed, rarely seen, always controlled, and never far from the approved family narrative. That would make sense if it was just privacy, but now it feels like red tape wrapped around something the public was never supposed to question. And the alleged former nanny, she's not backing off either. She's told the same story to multiple independent sources, sticking to her version of events with chilling consistency. No hospital visits, no late pregnancy fatigue, no belly kicks. Just a job to care for a baby that appeared out of nowhere, inside a house where certain questions were never to be asked. Her statements have given the rumors a face, a voice, and worst of all for the Carters, credibility. Then there's Tina Knowles, Beyoncé's mother, normally warm, supportive, and fiercely protective of her daughter's image, but now even her past interviews are being re-examined. Clips where she praises Blue Ivy's talents suddenly feel measured. There's warmth, yes, but also a weird avoidance of specific timelines or early memories. She talks about Blue's piano skills, her poetry, her presence, but never about the birth itself. For a grandmother, that's noticeable. And now the theory goes even further, that Tina isn't just protecting Beyoncé, she might be the architect behind the silence. The deeper this rabbit hole goes, the more it feels like we're staring at a puzzle where every piece was designed to distract from the missing ones. And right at the center is Blue Ivy, no longer just a celebrity child, but a symbol of something much bigger. If even part of this is true, it means we've been watching a carefully scripted reality for over a decade. Not just a fake pregnancy, but a full-blown rewrite of personal history. Some are even saying this isn't just about surrogacy or hidden kids, it's about power, about the ability to reshape the truth so thoroughly, so consistently, that even when the truth tries to claw its way out, it's drowned in luxury branding, sold-out tours, and award show performances. That's the part that's really terrifying. If this level of narrative control is possible, how many other celebrity realities are nothing more than rehearsed illusions? In this chaos, Blue Ivy herself has become the unwitting centerpiece of a public reckoning. She didn't ask for it, she didn't start it, but her image, her role in this story, is now being dissected by millions. Every public appearance becomes a litmus test, every gesture, every expression, a potential clue. It's cruel and it's unfair, but that's what happens when you build an entire brand around controlled perfection. The moment people smell a lie, they tear down everything until they find the truth, or at least something that looks like it. What's left now is a question that won't go away. If this story is even halfway real, how much of what we think we know about Beyoncé and Jay-Z is just a well-produced myth? And if the public ever gets proof, real, undeniable proof, what happens next? Will the empire crack, or will it just evolve into another illusion, stronger and smarter than before?